Okay, we should be live. Welcome back to the DAOhaus Haus Party. Party people, thanks for joining us. If you're on YouTube, like and subscribe, do all those things. If you want to jump into the chat you see on the screen, there's a link in the description there. It's on Discord, where the house party's live too. So if you want to see your avatar at least, we don't allow beautiful faces until you've proved that you're not a penis, I guess. Let's do it.
Proof of non-penis.
Yeah, so no guests this week to welcome. It's just a house style crew, because we've got new software to talk about that people can actually poke now, rather than just see on a quick tease kind of thing. Before we jump into that topic, or actually, let's do it this way. I'm going to check the feed to make sure you can hear me talking. While I do that, you want to start with let's back all the way up and assume no one has watched any of these yet. Why did we build this?
Yeah. Okay. From the beginning. ETH Berlin, I guess, was the beginning, right? And we, or no, actually it was a little before that. It was when Metacartel launched. Metacartel being a fork of Moloch DAO. And so the first Moloch contract was launched in ETH Denver. And then a couple months later, Metacartel started as a fork of that, or a clone of the contract. And we built the first interface around that with an idea of kind of trying to use contract wallets and staying mobile first. It worked pretty well, but had a lot of issues too. But after that, we continued working. More DAOs started, or more people started approaching us or Metacartel wanting to kind of do the same thing. So we kept kind of building these one-off little interfaces for them, until we got to the point where we were like, this is just impossible to manage. We were just doing this at an open source. And so we started at ETH Berlin. We took our kind of first step of starting to merge it, which was DAOhaus, which was more of a tool to explore all the different DAOs that had been starting. There was like Metacartel, Orochi DAO, maybe Raid Guild, I think, started then, Trojan DAO, a couple others. They were all like the first ones kind of experimenting with this. So we made DAOhaus, which was an exploration tool to kind of see all the different stats on those. And then from there, we were like, okay, well, let's start merging this interface, for which we called the Pokemole at that time, the Pocket Moloch. And we just kind of kept building on it as a passion project, the three of us over at Odyssey, me, Sam, and Vin. And more people started using it, doing their DAO stuff, still, working on it on the side. We got a couple small grants, one from Moloch DAO and one from Metacartel, which were super helpful to get us started. And until we got to a point where it was just like, we upgraded to V2 and we tried supporting that. And it just got to the point where we had a lot of users wanting us to do new things and update things. And we just didn't have enough time. So we wanted to bring the community in more for feedback and for help, bring in other devs and stuff. And that's kind of when we did the CCO, which is the kind of model, DAO model that we did to allow more contributors into the community. And then now we're a couple months into that, and we've kind of just rebuilt the entire Pokemole interface. And we're actually kind of now going away from the two interfaces, one for DAOhaus, which was like the exploration tool, and one for Pokemole, which was the voting and proposal interface. And trying to just unite everything. So we've got our first kind of new release now with all our new bells and whistles. We spent a lot of time thinking through like how people use the current DAOs and what would be nice to add, like some of the more data and analytics and more engaging with members. How it fits into a community. Like it's a tool for a community, and like how do we fit in with that? So we tried to kind of step back and look at all those things, and then just start fresh. And so now we're a few months in, and we're finally got some stuff coming out. It's still pretty raw, but we've made a lot of progress. And so we're kind of in an alpha state now, and we're looking for feedback and showing what we got so far. And yeah, I guess that's the whole history 101.
Yeah, and we've been calling this because you all have adopted what I just sort of was like, we're going to call it this from the comms standpoint, sort of like foundations release. So it's not our full V2 like vision. There's more to that I think maybe we'll talk about later if there's time. But this was really about like to integrate the Pokemole stuff. There was just kind of like these foundational DAO things that had to work first, right? Voting, proposals, little pieces like that. And also foundations fits with the house metaphor. So we got to lay a bunch of concrete before we can, start building stories on top of the house. So yeah, the other thing I was thinking I should call out since we skipped it is we're not doing this usual sort of house party agenda here. This is all house updates. So here's the slide. Yay. Yeah, so we sort of talked about, I pulled it up on the screen now, like just kind of running through the idea behind the designs, and I've got this post here if people want to follow along, but we sort of talked about some of the stuff, and you can see the examples from a Pokemole to the new designs and stuff like that. But before digging into that piece, like you guys want to talk a little bit about just sort of the inspiration, like sort of the I've talked about game design and things like that, and we got a bunch of posts about the sort of community side, but I think like when you start from that community first angle, you really get into this territory of thinking about the world differently, basically. Like if your point isn't own the software, monetize it, and we'll all be co-founders of a thing where we own the intellectual property, blah, blah, blah. Like this is a very different thing to approach a design from the standpoint of, hey, how do we have, sort of game dynamics? Uh-oh.
Yeah.
You can still hear the background music? You shouldn't be able to hear the background music. Tay.
Just on the stream we can hear it.
On this.
Maybe Vin could talk to the design a little bit. And
that's not how it should be.
We've continued riffing off the game theme of Moloch.
That should fix the background music.
Yeah, I hear some tunes.
Technical hurdles. Are they gone now? I closed the website. It shouldn't be working anymore. Gone now. Okay. Thank you for the folks in chat. Calling that one out for me. I don't know why that's happening. Yay, production work. Yeah, so what were we saying, Deacon? Sorry.
Oh, I was just saying that Vin could talk to the design lexicon and ethos, I guess.
I could do that a little bit. Should I share something?
Yeah, we can do it that way. We were thinking we could either pick through this post, we could ultimately share and kind of poke around with live.
Let's just pick through the post and we'll just go
cool.
slide by slide.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so I think, this one starts with the video, which everybody should go watch on their own. I have a funny, let me see if I can find that. I made this for Metamucil at some point.
Oh, that's lovely.
We only got to use it twice.
Very nice.
But yeah, in terms of what's in the post, I kind of explained a little bit of it already in terms of talking about just the idea of building the foundations of the house, right? Like this release we got all the core things done that we needed to do to start building the stuff that I think ends up being the more exciting part of the pitch. Like what's to come past this is where we evolve past just the baseline functionality of what you see in Pokemon.
Yeah.
But there's also a bunch of cool stuff in this one, right? So the first bit was just talking about Pokemon. One of the things, Deacon, you already mentioned this. No more Pokemon address. I mean, it'll still exist. It's open software
Sad.
if you want to go there, but everything is going to be DAOhaus.club and some version of it from here forward. And then, you want to talk a little bit about the idea of the introducing the activity feed? I mean, I know the whispers of it are in DAOhaus V1, but it really comes together in this drop, I think.
Yeah, it's been, even while testing, it's already kind of giving us a little bit of me personally anyways, feeling some of the benefits of what we were intending, So like, when we like design and build things, we're like we have an intent and assumptions and all these types of things. But even while building, it's just been really nice. So like, I mean, the point of the activity feed is certainly multidimensional, but it's meant to like you're in a DAO, and then you can just look at the top level information, like at the homepage or whatever, but you can also like while you're there you kind of see like what members of the community are doing. Deacon submits a proposal, Kerp voted on a proposal, Sam rage quit or whatever. Like it gets, so the base thing was like to give members a little bit more of an insight as to how members were engaging with the DAO, and that was like the basis of it. But emergent things, as we know, have already happened, and that's kind of what I was talking about. So like, I mean, even like, so I submitted a proposal to Metacartel the other day, and then Alex Mazmej sponsored me, and like, but that was like right there on the proposal, like it was like been submitted, Alex sponsored, and like, and before we didn't really have all that level of detail into engagement, so we never really, I mean, you could go and find it for sure, but because it's like right there, like in your periphery, like the activity feed is always kind of meant to be in your peripheral vision, so it's not like something that you like read or whatever, but it's a thing, it's just like peripheral data. So like while you're looking at one thing, you can kind of see how it connects to other things. You can go to a proposal detail, and you can like see all the activity on that proposal. You can see like who submitted it, who sponsored it, who voted on it, all these different things, and it creates like the emergent property of that already, I guess, that I'm seeing just while we're like just testing on Koban or whatever. Yeah, it's just really nice. You get to like see how people are interacting with one another across an entire globe, on the same proposals and the same things. So like it made me feel more connected to Alex, like on an inherent like human feeling, like I was like I felt like like a little tiny bit of gratitude by seeing that he sponsored my proposal. You know what I mean? It was just like a tiny thing. But I think those will become more and more important. I think that's going to be an emergent property of the activity feed. That's like one interesting thing that's
I mean first, one thing I want to call out now that I zoomed in on this stream here on the stream, when I first put this post up, Deacon's note was more emoji.
Yeah.
So now we have I was like, you mean like where, how? It's like just more emoji.
Gotta have emojis, man.
You gotta feed
Momo emojis.
The only cure is more emojis.
Yellow Momo.
Yeah, I've already had the experience that you mentioned as well. Seeing that someone sponsored, which was a thing that was there already, but the activity feed surfaces it in a way where there's almost instantly a sense of the social aspect of DAOs, which is
Right.
everybody's
It's just
working
more
together,
exposed.
like they're doing things, and
Right.
people sponsor a thing, and then somebody votes for a thing, and there's just
We're collaborating.
yeah,
It's
stuff
like
happening.
more explicit and like memorable and human and things because of that. Hey, let's do something fun though, real quick. Can you go to instead of this DAO page, can you go to theme sample? Hold on, I'll give you a URL.
Yeah.
Let's swap that to the actual Raid Guild theme because it seems out of place.
Oh, sweet. Perfect. We're going to talk about themes later.
Yeah, try this one. Or I dropped it in the war chat or house party chat.
No, perfect. That means other people can go check it out as well.
Well, yeah, sure. If you want
to.
This is where we're just like building and breaking, so not recommended. But yeah, just click on the Raid Guild pre-built theme there, and then go back to Raid Guild DAO. Oh, just in the same window.
Or reload it.
Yeah. Just go to. Yeah, there you go. What? Oh, damn! It changed it.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, he updated it last night so that it resets to the DAO now. We're just further in front of the law.
That's not fun. But anyway. Well, okay. That would have been really fun to see the Raid Guild theme on the Raid Guild DAO, but maybe next time.
Hey, does it still work on the Kovan link, Sam, from before?
Yeah, you can do it here too.
Go nuts button.
Do /psych out.
Just on any guild?
Yeah.
All one word?
Yep. And I'm changing this URL after this. No, sorry. Dash out.
You have been slain.
So here you can see
Oh.
There we go.
Nice. There we go. Now we got a real Raid Guild theme. Yeah, so like in this example, like now proposals, bank, and members have changed to quests, inventory, and players, for example. So just allowing communities to develop whatever language and lexicon they want to use to communicate with each other and their members in the external world. So along with visual, you can also like define your own whatever language that your community uses, which to us is really important. Like all communities are unique, just like individuals. And we want to empower those unique identities as much as possible. Yeah, you can grab the Metacartel Ventures theme, the Yearn theme still might still be one of my favorites.
Here's where it changes to waifus.
Waifus. Yeah, totally. For example, that's a good one.
Then we also have a random button that for anyone that watched the hype video, that's how we produced the like flurry at the end because I got to do that manually. So we have a random button. That one's fun, right?
Hey, that's pretty good.
This is my favorite.
Yeah,
Easter egg at this point.
Kerp's going nuts.
Yeah, so the point of all this stuff, though, besides just being ridiculous, is that
it's impossible to focus while that's going.
That we've created a theme builder for each community, so that a community can customize the way that their interface looks. I think,
and feels and communicates.
Yeah, that's been a request we've gotten always from the start, and maybe it was because of the weird pink and green colors that we use. But now
the design choices were questionable.
Okay, so that's kind of like activity feed in the overview page. Fundamentally, like every other sort of main page from Pokemon, as you would imagine, has also been redesigned. Here's the proposals page. There's your more emoji version of it if you want to check out the post. But, we can also pull this up in here.
And the Sweet Bank page.
One thing about those activity feeds is they're kind of cool because they're like contextual, so they'll change based on like the area that they're at. So like if you go to the members page, it's like activities for all your members, but then if you click and select a member, it'll just show activities related to that member.
Wait, see, that's a great example right there. So like activity feed, like Jackie sponsored member proposal, and then I voted on it. And it's just nice to see that stuff. I don't know. Yeah, look at that. I don't know. It's like really fun.
Yeah, I mean, my perspective from the community angle is like, you know, the thing that's lost in the digital space versus a physical office is like you just aren't in the presence of everyone puttering about the same way. And so like knowing that your team is working I mean, it comes all the way down to, like, it's the same with sports teams. Like the only way you know if another member of your team is busting their ass is if you can watch them. And that factors into the trust of like, okay, do I trust you as the fourth leg of this relay? Well, I watch you busting your ass in practice. Like that filters all the way down to just team dynamics, right? If you can't see what other people are doing inside of the community, it's really hard to stick together in the space of I trust that you're working on the shared goal the same that I am.
Yeah, you gotta have that brand gravity to bring you all together. And you can see we don't have a submitted by or recipient there, so we've hidden little things all throughout that people can look for. We purposely did that. No.
Yeah, so there's so like I mean, one of the things for me is being able to filter your proposals, and so like on the proposal page, it loads into action needed, right? Like you've made little decisions like that through this redesign to favor, you know, things that again people have come to us and said, I constantly forget to vote. I don't, you know, I get in there and I don't know where I'm supposed to go to do the thing that I'm supposed to do to keep the ball rolling, to produce the activity feed, you know, points. And so, you know, simple things like that where you can, you know, filter by the different types in here and sort of chase down proposals in a.
Yeah, but that action needed is the one that has like things that need to be done or could be done right now. Voting, sponsoring, processing.
Yeah, and they're contextual to your member. So like if you haven't voted on a proposal, not like if Adam hasn't voted on a proposal.
Right. Yeah, so I'm logged in here, so I haven't voted yes on my own proposal, so I'm still seeing it, but
right,
it's okay.
And it looks like it's going to go through, so that's fine.
Looks like it's going to pass, so I don't need to do anything. But the fact that I was able to monitor it in that way, like with Pokemon, that was a proactive thing. I would have to put a post-it there and go check the proposal if you know, in case you need to whip it to, you know, in case you need to go do some politics to get it to pass.
Right, yeah, exactly.
If you click into that, can you see like who voted?
Yeah, you and Sam and Yeller sponsored it.
Oh, dang it. I was going to vote no.
Can you change your vote? That's an interesting question.
No,
you can't.
No,
okay. That's currently passing. That's new.
Mm-hmm.
Give me a sense of whether I need to worry or not.
Yeah, so proposals is cool. Action needed is huge.
What did we hit? Okay, members.
Members,
members is pretty.
Pulled that one up quickly already, but there's cool stuff in here that even within Pokemon was still things that would cause people to go, oh, that's cool, but I think wasn't necessarily a hard thing. It's just like part of the crypto onboard universe is not everybody knows 3box, but we've integrated with this other, you know, crypto as Ethereum company that, you know, it's Gravatar, but for wallet addresses. And so set up a profile with them, and like all throughout the Web3 universe, you can show up in lists like this instead of like this.
Yeah,
that was perfect that they were right next to one another.
Yeah, totally. Which is user choice, right? Which is like totally like that's our ethos. Like it's your choice. But if you want to be recognized in things, then yeah, just make a profile. If you don't, then don't.
So here's our members. You can see the
Raid
Guild whales.
Yeah. So if you click on Dec there, then the activity feed will update to his activity, you know. And you know, a little bit more detail about him. And if you really wanted to, you could go over to the right side and click on his little card and kick his ass if you wanted to.
Let's do it.
No.
Yeah, so ultimately, then I would submit this
The plot
proposal, and it
twist.
would go to a vote. Like, I mean,
Right.
we could even full on put this proposal through as long as we knew everyone would vote it down.
Well, we got enough whales. Maybe we could save you,
no.
but
Anyway,
Maybe.
don't want to do it.
Maybe,
but that
yeah,
is,
exactly.
you know.
have to do some politics math.
Oh, hey, it dropped in the new proposals. This is also a new. This will be a new thing to people if they're same old menu, new look. To the
Which
users,
there's some work for us to do here, and
for sure.
listening to users on like what helps them find the right types of proposals and things. So I think we're kind of talking about making this like super action oriented.
That
like,
little coming soon box, those are things that should be coming out in the next few weeks or month, maybe. But like, we've tried to make this very extendable, right? So it's
that's the point. Yeah.
the space there for the coming soon is like, okay, well, there could be more proposal types. We get different requests and we think of different ways to do proposal types all the time. And so for some things, like through using the minion, we can do a whole bunch of different really interesting things.
Which is really what I've been alluding to when I say cool things are, further
Cool
releases, cool things, right?
Yes.
I mean, but this.
And a lot of them are already staged up.
Yeah, exactly.
We're
Right.
do
So,
this first.
Yeah, we just wanted to get this new foundation together so that we can build on it, right? Which, like we want to do, there's a lot of cool things here already, but yeah, it really is just the foundation of our new foundation for V2.
and so here we got a look at my member profile. Here you can see a little bio that was pulled from 3box, and then you got, my relative voting power in Raid Guild, the shares I have, loot, the projected value of the stake that I have, all kinds of, it compared to the Pokemole version, which you can see in the screenshot here.
Yeah, pretty barky.
It's way more rich. Yeah, all kinds of fun stuff going on here. But
Pretty
you
barky.
have your standards: rage kick, copy address, or rage quit in this case. This is my profile, so I can peace out.
Kick
and
yourself if you want to.
take that. Take that $356 with me.
Yeah, and then there's like some new stuff. So if you go to settings.
Settings.
Oh,
left.
yeah.
There it is.
Yeah, like now you can quickly find all the data that you did put into all the different like settings that you did input when you summon the DAO, which is super simple stuff, but we just didn't have it in there. But now there's there's a lot of things coming, as you can see here. So, and this will be a place where you can eventually end up like upgrading certain areas or adding new extensions to your DAO to be able to interact with other Ethereum dApps around the space, realm, and things like that. So, I mean, we're looking into ways to really superpower the DAO. So, which basically just means don't just be a DAO, but be able to interact with anything around the Ethereum space. So, lots of cool
Go
stuff.
back over to your profile quick, in your, and like one of my favorite things in the improvement is, as you just mentioned, like you could rage quit your 356.46 as it is. It was very difficult before this to tell how much your proportion was in the DAO, and this is very, very nice to have as a representation.
Yeah, and that's only showing things that we can really get the value of. Raid Guild actually, interestingly, has like 5 different personal tokens in it too, which are worth way more. So.
Because
Because
personal time.
Yeah.
Right. May or may not have a reliable price feed, but yeah.
Right.
But anything that does have a reliable price feed, totally.
And then we talked about themes a little bit, but like as we go through this, I'm bumping into things that are like, well, that should have been in the post too. The hub. I didn't talk about the hub at all in the post.
Yeah, the hub is really
like it's exploration started. Explore like your personal universe aspect of exploration that we did talk about earlier. Being able to find all the DAOs you're in is a problem once you start joining a few communities.
Yeah, and also just seeing insights across those DAOs from one place. And again, this is just like the starting point for what this will be. But, yeah, so like here on your hub here, like you can see the DAOs that you're in. You can also see notifications or little badges for like action proposals that are like needing some action of some sort, whether a vote or a sponsoring or a processing or whatever. So you can just come here and see if you need to do anything in the DAOs. Before, you just have to literally go to every DAO and, like you said, dig around and see if there's anything that you need to do. But we're trying to get it. I mean, coordination is what DAOs are about. And there's like various scales of coordination in the DAO universe in general. So like one DAO is a coordination game where you're like coordinating a lot of people, which has its problems. But then when you're coordinating across many different DAOs, then your personal level of like coordination gets much harder to manage. So that's what this is like starting to address, like having a safe place where you can go and just like quickly glance at what's going on in your DAOs, and like if you need to do anything. Most people in DAOs do want to participate. They just need to know what to do. So like you can come here all the time and like see if there's something that you can go and contribute to communities with, as well as like the recent activity, which is similar. It just shows you like a glance of proposals and things happening around your personal DAO universe. Yeah, and then you can hop to any of those DAOs and go back and forth and whatever. Is that going on next day?
There's some of our little toast notifications. But so with
and
those,
all this works on XDAI. But yeah, again, you have your like the activity feed again, kind of like you said there in the periphery, I should say. On the hub though, it's cross DAO. So here you can see activity from Haus DAO, from Achievement Tree, from the Fed Papers Club.
We've also had some like with the toast and the notifications and the transaction flow. We've reworked that to attempt to make it a little smoother. It's one of the hardest parts of Web3 is dealing with long mainnet transaction times. And so in the old Pokemall, it would just sit and spin for the 4 hours that you're waiting for a mainnet transaction. But now we have a toast that'll pop up, so you can actually go around and do some other and still be notified that something finished, depending. It also will warn you about the wrong network. We're going to have like little helper text. That's another thing we're adding, that like using that as an opportunity, those long waiting times as an opportunity to educate people on like what the DAO is. And it'll probably be a customizable kind of thing eventually too. Those double toasts, we'll probably be getting rid of those. So,
it's my fault. I kept pressing the button. Button mashing.
But
yeah, we haven't looked at like the bank yet, or
oh yeah, that's also a thing that should have been called.
Yeah, bank's totally I like them all, but yeah, the bank is pretty fun.
Look at the bank for like Metacartel.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what's one where stuff is moving?
Yeah, that's a good one.
I might still be having some data Easter eggs, we'll call them.
Little surprises.
Yeah. So here's the Metacartel V2 bank.
So this it's not the best representation of Metacartel in general, because they upgraded from V1 to V2, and you can kind of see that process happening. And then all the money came in all at one time.
Yeah, that was the
DAO.
Right.
But I mean, that's something there too.
Check the war chest.
No.
It's got a lot more, like Deacon said, tokens with unverified prices.
I think this might be where we're having a little bit of
It's got more Easter eggs.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, what's going on with this one?
But I like pulling this one up as an example of, here's where, like you said, the price feeds are not potentially reliable. But, in a context like this, like Raid Guild has a horde of weird tokens because, yeah, we'll take your token. Ant? Is that actually Aragon Network token?
Someone sent it in, but no one wants to pay the gas to claim it.
How much of it? Anyway, A and J too. I got a bunch of that.
Collect it.
Yeah, sink it.
I think it was like 1 or 2. So it's
shit.
Probably, yeah, it's probably just white.
$260 in gas. We're not going to do that right now.
That might be an error.
That's a bug, yeah.
That might be a bug. An Easter egg.
Interesting.
So many Easter eggs. I like it.
So what do we boost? Stats? That's not there yet. Yeah, so I feel like that's kind of a look. I mean, let's look at everything that there is to poke at. Unless we want to dig in on themes, but we did that earlier because we're excited about them. So
yeah, themes will be cool. There may be a way in the future even to make a theme and sell it. NFT themes, but boosts and the stats page are kind of the coming soon stuff as well, and it's going to be some good stuff over the next few months.
So then the last bit in the post, which kind of transitioned to what I think we can talk about for the remainder of our time, is the Foundations program. That's what we're calling it. The post doesn't come out till tomorrow, but I can pull up a version of it here.
One of the tasks we have.
Freeze the screen and read it. But
Kerp.
Yeah.
One of the tasks we should have is like that people need to come watch this video and like we say some secret keyword that we know that they watched.
I lived with a comedy writer for a while, and he always used to say he always used to go to restaurants and order things Bob Hope. He'd be like, "Can I get that pizza, Bob Hope?"
All right, so Bob Hope's the secret key if someone wants to get
the word.
Yeah, that's the word.
So the Foundations program ultimately is a project that's a product of the Ranger camp, the sort of community and comms camp. But really what we're trying to figure out is like in this context of farming, and look, this isn't an entirely original idea, right? Like it's a future of work thing. Like how can we take the farming analogy that DeFi is using for liquidity pool staking and whatever hell, all that stuff, degen things that are happening? Like there's real work to be done here. And like in our conversation, I've made a note of it because it's come up a number of times. Like most of the decisions we're making in our design are driven by user input. They're driven by people that come and say, I miss votes, or they come in and say, I wish I had a place where we could have this, right? And a constant problem of sustainability for projects and for product people is continuing input and feedback from your users. And I think if we can invent a system of feedback farming where people are rewarded for that contribution in the right way, and then ultimately layered on any product, like we can create these products that are ultimately sustainable in an interesting way, where it's not Adobe constantly offering me a $50 Amazon gift card to do another interview with one of their product research people. I mean, I think all that needs to happen, but in a crypto ecosystem, we can do things that are way cooler than that.
Yeah, feedback is a valuable contribution to a product. Structured, thoughtful feedback is incredibly valuable to a product, and it should be rewarded. I mean, it's as simple as that, right? I mean, without that, then we're just like making assumptions and willy-nilly firing our pistols in the sky. So, like, without those it's incredibly valuable contributions, and they should be rewarded.
I can't remember who said this, but I repeat it often enough that I should look it up, and I'll try to put attribution in the description. I was listening to a podcast where somebody was talking about how, like, past a point, the design work you're doing is just writing fan fiction. Like, and if you don't have incoming signals from your users, you're just kind of making it up. And you know, the reality is, though, we can generate that signal in novel ways, right?
We're wildly imaginative. Yes, and we're wildly imaginative and creative, so we'll propagate a bunch of bullshit if we were allowed to let us
run free. Yeah, for sure.
Right.
So
create entirely new narratives that don't mean anything to anybody. So yeah.
So that's kind of like the core ethos of the whole thing. But the way that we're doing it is by setting up a DAO. We're going to seed that DAO with some DAI out of our budget for a certain number of people that sign up to do this. We got a whole sort of system of quests. It's mostly through Discord. It's as much about figuring out crypto on board. So I mean, if you're listening to this, watching this, and you feel like, yeah, but I don't know crypto things, good, please sign up. It's as much about, can we onboard people that have no idea what's going on to DAOs and to understanding this stuff and get their feedback on that process, and then ultimately get their feedback on the software itself. We have a whole sort of series of quests, and you start at Foundations 1 and 2, and this is what I talk about in the post a bit. It's all about the humble tractor. You want to get in Discord, you want to earn tractor emojis. And then we got a source cred instance running that's tracking those emojis. And we'll use that to do drops every week, ultimately to give people more shares in that DAO. And so as people join, the DAO bank for Foundations DAO will grow. And once this program's over, you can rage quit and get your cut of that, your proportional cut, depending on how many DAO shares you have of whatever is in that bank, whether it's loot from other quests or the stuff that we're seeding it with, I think we'll ultimately be coming up, hopefully working with the DAO with novel ways to let it ride, if you will.
Let it ride. Yeah,
like I would love for this to evolve into like a users union type of thing. Like this is the
Me
DAO
too.
by which the users tell us how they feel, whether we like it or not.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that's just a critical part of doing this. So yeah, so there's roles in Discord. You can earn them by doing different stuff. The main thing is hop in there, tag a ranger, and say hey, and we'll walk you through the process. It's very hands-on to begin with. Here's a look at some of the stuff in the post. But yeah, I mean, really, that's the Foundations program. I don't know if anybody else from Rangers wants to say a bit about it.
Real quick,
Lee, who's listening, has been helping out.
Kerp, Amin just hopped on.
Oh shit, yo!
Oh yo, what's up?
Do we need to?
Yeah.
You should be able to unmute yourself now if you want to say anything. I mean, otherwise, thanks for jumping in.
We were just talking about feedback, and we're actually talking with Amin right after this to get some feedback. So
perfect. Yeah, but I mean, that's kind of our time. Unless anybody else wants to sort of talk about the Foundations thing, I'll have links in the description for anybody that wants to jump in on that. I think we're going to run it for 5 or 6 weeks in the lead up to some other cool stuff. But really, it comes down to get in the product, try to break things, tell us about them in Discord, and we'll throw cool things at you for it. Otherwise, yeah, thanks for hanging out, everybody. If you're on YouTube, give us a like, subscribe, and you'll get to learn about other things like Foundations program 12
Sweet.
hours before the rest of the world or whatever it is.
Yeah, I just figured out my mic. I've been following your Medium posts. Excited to talk to you guys about product and stuff.
awesome.
Love how you guys are taking this forward.
Cool.
Sweet.
Yeah, this feedback farming stuff is going to be super fun.
Yeah, and Amin, we'll have to get you on to the house party one of these weeks just to hang out and talk about stuff sometime.
Cool. Sounds good.
Yeah, awesome.
That's like a accidental expert plug for a future show. I planned it this way. Anyway, that's the theme. Thanks everybody. The stream.
Well,
Thanks everybody for hanging out.
What's out? See y'all.
Where is this button?